everyone, I'm Chrissy B and welcome to my show. Now when someone loses a loved one, it's a really difficult time, but what if you lose two people that you love the most in your life? How on earth do you cope? Well, today we'll hear a first-hand account from Pam Patel, who went from losing her mother and her husband to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Now we also have our makeup expert, Maegan Gregoire, who'll be showing us the bare essentials to achieve a natural look. And Cynthia Gregoire will be showing us what's on trend this winter and some more styling tips for the festive season. Jane will also be giving us advice on how to do a squat. I'll be showing you my latest challenge where I learned to do professional makeup, and I'll be answering a question from a viewer later on. But first, we have the news with Excel. Hello.
Hello, Chrissy. Hello, viewers.
You like to make an impact, don't you?
I do. Yes, I do.
Lovely.
Well, thank you very much. I thought I'd start off with some interesting news again, as usual today. This one's just slightly hilarious because I think when you think about it, you might think, really, is this sort of what's happening now? But Blossom the cow has made it into the record books for being the, let me actually quote it properly, she is too tall for the slaughterhouse.
Oh.
Yes. She
good for her.
Indeed, because her owner found out she was infertile and so couldn't obviously, make babies. And so they were going to take her to the slaughterhouse. But apparently she's a Guinness World Record holder because she's too tall. She is 6'4" tall. And we have a picture here.
Oh, wow. She looks more like a horse.
Exactly. Massive.
It's huge.
She's now kept as a pet and she's a prize attraction at Patty Hansen's farm in Orangeville, Illinois.
That was a nice future for her then.
Indeed. So now she's the pride of the farm. She has her own Facebook page, complete with seasonal photos and messages for her fans.
Aww.
Don't you just love Facebook and all sorts of social media? Anything goes on there. Next on to a bit of interesting news here now again. An intruder, a modern day...
So I'm laughing because she always brings these intruder stories.
I know, but I think I've said something similar to this before. So I kind of think there is an intruder college where they learn to do this, because some guy broke into he was wandering the streets looking for a place to stay, and he saw a house with a apparently wildlife garden, and he thought it had been abandoned. So he went in and he prepared dinner and I'm sorry, I have to laugh. Dinner, did everything. He was found asleep in the bed. And we have a photo of the man and the intruder in a little photo beside him. And the man came and found, it's like he found the guy, thief in his bed, and he thought, hold on a minute. The chicken and pasta dinner had been prepared, the crockery had been put away, the post had been put away, the bath had been filled with water, and the socks and underwear.
It's not making yourself at home.
He literally did the home's laundry kind of thing. It's like he came in and became like a living maid. And the next thing, true to Goldilocks forms, the man said, someone's been sleeping in my bed and he's still here. So he then prodded him awake, and so of course the thief was startled, and he said he found the house derelict and he thought no one lived there because he had been evicted from his previous lodging. So
hang on,
when he came to the house, he cooked. Yeah, he made himself at home basically.
Surely he didn't take that chicken with him to cook. He must have found it in the house.
Found it in the house.
So he must have known someone was living there.
Because the owners were only away. They had gone away for a 5-day excursion, National Trust excursion, and then when they came back, this is in Lancashire, by the way, when they came back, they found the thief asleep in the bed.
Gosh.
It was just like, it's ridiculous.
So he's been arrested?
Modern day Goldilocks. He pleaded guilty to burglary and theft, and he was given a 2-year conditional discharge.
What did you steal? Chicken?
Well, I suppose, yeah, he cooked it without permission. So it is theft. The judge said, it would appear you entered this property not with a deep intent to be dishonest, but simply as a way to live and probably hide for some days. So it is fair to say that the owners of the house understand that you left the house in a tidy condition, and from that, they have some sympathy on him. So
because he cleaned up, he got away with it.
He tidied up after himself. Okay. If only every thief was like that, really. He shouldn't leave a mess. It's rude.
Cook chicken for when you get home.
Something quite funny now. Some might think funny, but a young lady has been punished because she assisted a fellow contestant over the finish line.
Oh. Really?
I'll explain. This is a cross-country race. A young lady by the name of Tegan Monfils she was unceremoniously disqualified because she took her rival who had been fainting and had actually collapsed, and she actually helped her up, you know, in the spirit of sportsmanship. But apparently it earned her a disqualification because apparently you're not meant to help someone. So it was seen as, in a way, like cheating. You're helping because the person couldn't obviously finish the race, so you're helping them go over the finish line. I have a photo where she's actually leaning on her and, you know, helping her out there as you see someone who's struggling. But apparently that got her disqualified. Aww. And of course people took to social media and were sort of saying, look, this is wrong. They want the rules to be overturned. They should consider what she did as a good, you know, an act of sportsmanship. You want to help your fellow, you know, see a fellow man struggling. And they said they're very proud of what she did. Her parents were actually proud of her as well. And everybody pretty much is behind her, saying it's good that Maegan actually thinks that winning isn't the most important thing and was able to sort of help someone across the line. But unfortunately... you
would have just left her there, wouldn't you? Tell me the truth.
No,
you would have just gone for it.
I'd have like, come on, you can do it. I'm flagging down. Well, actually, that did happen to me somewhat when I ran the marathon a few years ago. And I remember being beside someone who were both as tight as each other. I don't know how she got the strength to actually carry someone, because I was there going, what are we doing here? And like, come on, we can do it. So we're supporting each other. We didn't, you know, lead each other over the finish line, but we were just sort of like egging each other on. And actually a policeman actually came alongside us as well. I was giving us some jokes and said, come on, you can do it. You've come this far, you know, go ahead. Nice. So it was really good. But I suppose on this occasion, she actually physically helped her across the line. So. Okay.
Not do next time.
I know.
We've got time for one more, Excel.
Okay, well, I have a bit of a cheeky one here. Keira Knightley revealed that she apparently tried to duck out of the premiere of her new movie. You want to know why? Why? Because she didn't want to miss the final of the Great British Bake Off.
No.
Oh yeah, you heard it here.
She could tape it.
Well, she wanted to see it live. She didn't want the kind of, you know, so she said, look, she said she tried to persuade her agent that it would be fine to miss the screening and head home early. So I suppose she turned up for the meet and greet or something. Go, hi, how you doing? Gotta go. You know.
That's so naughty.
But she says after, of course, you know,
Where are your priorities, young lady?
Well, you know. Apparently it's a big deal, this Great British Bake Off. And
so premiere? Oh well, okay.
But she ended up recording it, but
she said premiere or the Bake Off?
No, the Bake Off. She said she actually tried to avoid any discussion about it on the way home. She literally wanted to see it for herself. Yeah, she didn't want to know who won, but she said she did actually leave the party a bit early so she could watch it on iPlayer afterwards, and nobody should tell her what happened. She turned the radio off on the way back so she doesn't know.
Well, she's an avid fan then.
But there's something additional. She's actually one of those celebrities who doesn't like social media. Oh. She said she signed into Twitter for about 12 hours and then she logged off because somebody was there creeping her out with some serious fan love. Oh. And she ran off. So yeah, she's somebody that really doesn't do social media. Good on you, girl.
All right. So are you going to stay with us? Because you're going to have some more lovely news from you later on. But do stay tuned, because in the next part of the show, we'll speak to Pam Patel, who lost both her husband and her mother, but who didn't stop living or achieving her goals. And we'll also have a fitness tip from Jane Wrafter.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show. Always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. So now I'd like to welcome Pam Patel, who has a very interesting personal life story. Hello, Pam.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So good to have you on the show, because you've been through quite a difficult time. But first of all, so can you tell us a bit about your background, growing up and things like that?
Well, I was born in 1959. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you told everyone. Wow, she's brave.
I'm out.
Oh.
I came to this country in 1964 with my mother and met my father at Heathrow Airport for the first time.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in Wembley. Mm-hmm. And it was a very interesting time. It was in the 60s, and I was a minority, we were a minority, mm-hmm. so we grew up with all of that background. Okay. So it was quite difficult.
Was it difficult? Did you get like racist comments and things like that?
Yes. In fact, before we arrived, my father was attacked and
Oh,
a racial attack and almost killed. Somebody had called the police, and he was, saved. Yes, and it was quite common. You'd be walking down the street and there'd be remarks.
Yeah, okay. Did that affect you growing up into adulthood?
No, it didn't. It seemed, I know it's difficult to believe, but it was normal. It was. I was the only Indian child, non-white child in the school, and but the children were wonderful. Everyone was wonderful. But I remember one instance where I went with a friend. My mother was late, and so she took me to her house, but I wasn't allowed to go into the house. I had to wait outside because I was coloured.
Oh dear.
So, but at 5, 6, 7 years old, you
don't get it.
You don't really get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mother and my parents never made a big thing of it. It was very.
So they're quite good at protecting you in that sense.
Yeah, very protective, and also kind of accepting, and just kind of didn't put the barrier up. I didn't put the barrier up, so eventually people would, accept you. Okay. And yeah.
Now let's fast forward now to when your parents tried to arrange a marriage for you. What happened there? Several, not just the one. Yeah.
Yeah, fortunately they didn't work out, but the main one that we talked about before was I actually, I wanted to please my parents because I wasn't the doctor. I didn't become the doctor that they wanted me to be. So, I was always trying to please them, kind of, especially my father. He was quite a difficult man, actually. Very difficult to live with. So I was always trying to please him. And ultimately, I went to India to marry a young man that I'd never met, but he was a doctor. And my father.
Were you willing to do that just to please
your
dad?
I was, yes, because I was the dutiful Indian daughter, and it seemed to be the thing to do, the right thing to do. And so I went to India. Everything was set up. The invitations were out. Everything was booked. My mother couldn't come. We couldn't afford the tickets, so I went off to get married to a stranger. But, I suppose destiny has a hand in it, and it didn't work out. The young man's father became ill, and the condition for my marriage was that he had to come to the UK. But when his father actually had a mild heart attack, and he decided that he would stay with his father.
Okay.
So
you got out of that one fine.
Yeah.
You came back to the UK now.
Yes, I did.
But then eventually you did leave your parents' house, didn't you? And eventually meet your husband. Can you tell us about that?
Actually, when I came back from India, I kind of rebelled because I'd always done the right thing. I'd always been the dutiful daughter, and it just didn't work out because I was pretty heartbroken. It was quite, it was very painful to have gone through that experience. It was very humiliating. I mean, family were arriving, everything was booked up, and
oh wow, went that far.
It did go. I went there to get married, and it was just days before the actual wedding.
Yeah.
So I came back, and I kind of just, I suppose, rebelled, and I started going out, and eventually just left home.
Okay. And when did you actually meet your husband?
Where?
When?
Shortly afterwards, actually, just by chance, I met him.
Did you was it like, I won't say love at first sight, but did you click immediately?
Absolutely, love at first sight.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually saw him in the car park when I was at my workplace, and it was just that moment where I was driving past, and he just had parked up, and he was just walking past, and I was like, wow.
So how long before until you got married? After you?
Well, we went out. We did go out. We went out for a year, and we broke up for 2 years, and then eventually got married.
Okay. And how long were you married for before he passed away?
23 years.
Really?
Mm.
Wow. Okay. So, because I want longer on this show when you have these kind of stories, but we've got let's talk about, because obviously you lost your husband. Do you mind me asking what happened? How he died?
Well, I lost my mother first.
Oh, you lost your
in
mum first?
March the 28th, 2012. My mother
Okay.
died suddenly. She died in her sleep, perfectly fine. She was at home, went for a nap and didn't wake up.
Oh, God.
That's the 28th of March. And then exactly a month later, 28th of April, my husband went off for cricket practice. And I was called to the hospital. They didn't tell me what had happened, but they took me to a private room and told me that my husband had collapsed and died.
Just collapsed like that?
Just collapsed and heart failure.
Oh my
Instantly.
gosh, so it was like similar circumstances as well.
Both had ischemic heart disease, but my mother was 78 and my
Yeah.
husband was 49.
Now, Pam, I can't imagine the emotions and the thoughts that you went through when this happened. Obviously, you were still grieving about your mum, and then it happened, to your husband as well. What was going on in your head at the time?
Disbelief. I mean, when I was standing over my husband, I actually looked up at the doctor and said, "Are you sure? Are you sure he's dead?" Because it was just disbelief, and I went through the funeral and the phone calls and all of the administration, all of that stuff that you go through when somebody passes away. When my mother passed away, and suddenly
To do it all again.
it was all over again. I was having to make those phone calls and just and part of me was, why so soon? Couldn't this maybe in a few months' time, not exactly a month.
How long ago did this happen, Pam?
It's about 2.5 years now.
2.5 years, okay. Now, how did you actually manage to pull yourself through that? Because you obviously have, and you're here talking on TV about it, and then obviously I know that it's still probably painful to think about, but how did you get through the sort of the really hard moments?
Initially, it's like when you're punched in the stomach. I mean, it's painful. I suppose initially it was acceptance, first of all, accepting the death, the loss, not asking why. It happens, life and death happens. So I felt it was important to just accept it. And also I had an intention. I remember it was my mantra, I will get through this.
Okay.
Somehow I'll get through this. And distraction plays an important part, and also accepting help from people. Distraction in terms of, just keeping busy, talking, crying, watching TV, but only watching comedies.
Okay.
Even if you don't find it funny, but in cartoons, taking the dog for a walk, just keeping busy, any kind of distraction. My children were at home, my sister moved in, so I wasn't alone, except at night time and in the mornings, and that was when it was very, very painful. And I also think that, it does depend on person to person, and I think it's, your upbringing, your belief system, your support system, all of that plays a part. But, I know that I'm the sort of person, I'm a positive person, and I've always looked at challenges in life as, I've always said that, everyone faces challenges, but you have a choice. You can be a victim, a survivor, or become more than what you were, and I chose the latter.
And you certainly have done that, but we're going to go to a quick break, Pam.
Okay.
We're going to have to take some time from the other sections of the show because I want to really sort of talk about the things that you've achieved from when this happened as well. So do stay with us and do join us after this break.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
welcome back. Now we're going to go straight back to Pam's story. Now we have to skip a few things on the show today that we were going to cover, but I really want to get more into Pam's story because it is so inspiring. So Pam, back to you now. So you've obviously told us what happened from your childhood, meeting your husband, losing your husband and your mum within a month and a half.
Exactly
a month.
Yeah.
And how you try to cope with everything. But you said there was even more to that as well. So you talked about sort of spending, having people around you and keeping busy and things like that. Is there anything else that you did to help you get through?
We have a great sense of humour in my family. We laugh, and laughter, they say, is the best medicine, and it really is. We weren't embarrassed to laugh. We were laughing at my mother's funeral. We laughed at my husband's. Even when I came back from the hospital, we laughed because I didn't want to let anyone know because I had to clean the house because I knew they'd be around, and so we were laughing. But I think just having the intention that you're going to get through it is really, really important.
And not to give up on that.
Not to give up on that, because time is the best healer. All of these sayings, old sayings, been around for centuries because they're true. Time has been my best friend.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, Pam, because obviously my mum's going through the same thing at the moment, having lost my dad a few months ago, and she goes through these phases where she laughs and with family, because she's got some great support around her in Cyprus, and like there's family always there. They go out, they take her out, so she's very busy all the time. But from time to time she feels guilty for having fun. So she'll be in a certain place and then all of a sudden she'll cry because she said, I shouldn't be laughing, I shouldn't be having a good time, I shouldn't be like this. And then she starts sort of missing my dad again. And I say to her, but look, Mum, if Dad was here, he'd want you to, he even said to her, don't sort of, I don't want you even wearing black, I want you to carry on with your life, get remarried. So he said all of this to her before he passed away, but still she sort of feels guilty. And I say to her, he wouldn't have wanted you to feel like this, and he would have wanted you to move on and be happy. And I said to her, what's the alternative? The alternative is for you to get depressed and to kill yourself? What kind of alternative is that? Isn't it better just to move on and have these fun moments? It's just that you're living a different phase of your life now. Doesn't mean that it's a terrible one because he's not here anymore. It can be good as well.
No, you're right. I mean, you have to do whatever it takes. One of the things that I did, which people thought was perhaps odd, very soon after my husband's funeral, we cleared out the kitchen. We just reorganised everything, got rid of all his things, and even in my bedroom and other areas, I removed all his things. I didn't throw them away, but I removed them. I didn't need reminders. I didn't need to be reminded.
Yeah.
And people, did comment, and I thought, well, no one can know my pain, but I have to do what I have to do. And my husband would be smiling down at me for removing all of the things and being strong and moving forward. And not to be ashamed, not to feel that guilt.
Of what other people say, look, she's forgotten about him already. It wasn't like that.
It's not, you're the one that's been injured. And no one can know your pain. And people say things, and really you just have to maybe listen to the really closest people to you, So I listened to my children and my sister who was staying with me. But in fact, they were watching me and listening to me and seeing how I was coping, and they were getting the strength from me.
How old are your kids, by the way?
Now or then?
Back then. Yeah.
Back then, my son was just 17,
okay.
And Natasha was 20.
What a brilliant example you set for them. That's great.
Well, they say you inspire by example, and you teach by example. So.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, tell us some of the things that you've been doing, the positive things that the things that you've gone for that maybe you hadn't done before.
Well, I did go back to work, but I soon found I was overwhelmed. So they offered me a sabbatical, so I took the sabbatical. So on my last day at work, in fact, the next morning, I flew out with a friend and I went abroad for a week.
Okay.
The best thing ever, just to be in the other side of the world, on a beach, just me and her, and just absolutely wonderful. And then I took time out to kind of do, because there's so much administration, there's so much paperwork, there's so much to sort out. And so I had time for that and look after the children and the home. I have a dog, so
it's nice to have animals around, isn't it, as well? It really helps.
Wonderful. They're such a great distraction. They really are.
My mum got 2 kittens as well recently.
They really help. They really help. So, sort of, I did sort of a lot of meditation and a lot of looking inward and healing, because when something like that happens, everything gets shaken up, and a lot of things from the past come up. Okay. A lot of pain, a lot of guilt, regret, anger. So, I didn't want to suppress that, sort of bury them. So I wanted to address each one and resolve. Then eventually I did go back to work for a while. I joined a gym, signed up with a personal trainer, the best thing I ever did, because 2 hours a week in the gym were fantastic, because my focus was on nothing else but myself, and just working out. And I had a wedding to go to, so I joined up in last July. In 3 months I had to go to a wedding, so I had a goal. Okay. So I had to look good. And then within 2 months of joining the gym, I thought, well, I'm fit and I've always wanted to do skydive, so what am I waiting for?
Wow, good for you.
So I did skydive. I signed up for Kilimanjaro last year, which
what was that like?
Amazing. I actually went in September. I'd just gone.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Wow. How long did it take you?
It's about 6 days. You get there. Yeah, on the summit night is the worst. Yeah, this could be a whole new show about Kilimanjaro, and all, because I know you did Ben Nevis, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Well, how about Kilimanjaro?
Please, come on. Ben Nevis compared to...
Well, you can do it.
I thought I was going to die up there. I think I'll consider that one maybe in the future.
Yeah, but I did it for charity, for the British Heart Foundation.
Okay.
And then I spent Christmas, last Christmas at the crisis centre. So we took the family on Christmas Day and a few other days.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I wanted to start experiencing life and doing things differently, and things I've always wanted to do. I held a tarantula. I took a skiing lesson. I'm being interviewed on TV. Thank you for making one of my dreams come true.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
So and something I've always wanted to do was to write. So I recently gave up work because I just felt it was the right thing to do, to write. And I'm hoping to do Mount Everest Base Camp next year.
So it's like you're setting yourself goals, achieving them, going higher. It's really great.
Dreams for me, because I'd been a daughter, I'd been a wife, I'd played these roles, and suddenly I found that I was free. Yeah. Because as I said, I believe that in every challenge there's a beauty in every challenge. There's something positive that you can find. And I had to look really hard this time, but I did, and I found freedom. And so I've taken that and just, I'm soaring.
Yeah, that's absolutely
but it's not just about freedom. It's freedom from fear, freedom from guilt, and freedom to choose, which I can choose for myself and do what I want to do.
What would you say to maybe viewers that are watching now that have lost someone very dear to them, or more than one person, as in your case, very dear to them, and say, it all sounds brilliant, but I can't see myself doing that? What advice would you give to them?
I've actually got a friend who's just lost a partner 2 weeks ago, and she said the same thing to me. She said, Pam, I'm not strong. You're strong. And I said to her, you are strong. You underestimate yourself. If you've been through life and any sort of challenges, you do have the strength. You just have to allow it to surface. And with the right intention, that intention, that mantra that I will get through it. And thinking positively, because you have a choice. You can either think negative and focus negatively, and we know where that's going.
Yeah.
So you have the choice.
It doesn't do any good for you.
It doesn't.
So what's the point really, if you think of it that way, if
Exactly.
you break it down? Thinking negatively never ever benefits you.
That's right. So I say think positive. It starts off with the little things.
Yeah.
But I think being positive in life is strength.
Okay,
That's where you
definitely.
get strength from.
Pam, we have to leave it there, I'm afraid, but thank you so much. It's been
Oh,
wonderful
thank
speaking
you.
to you. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Okay, guys, so after the break, we're going to have Cynthia and Maegan with styling and makeup tips.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. Now, you may be wondering what's happened to Excel, but she will be joining us again next week, since we really wanted to cover Pam's story and not miss anything out, but she will be back again with us for those of you that are her lovely fans. Okay, but let's now go to Maegan's makeup corner, and we have a lovely model here, Celine. And Maegan, you're going to be doing some, was it bare makeup looks on her?
Yes, so
Yeah.
we're going to go over the bare essentials that's
Bare makeup
needed
looks, sorry,
to
that's what I
get
meant.
that.
Bare essential, sorry.
Bare essentials that you need, which is the products that are a must when you want to achieve that natural, no makeup look.
Okay.
And it goes kind of similar to when we're doing kind of bridal makeup. You want that natural look that you're not wearing makeup, but actually you need makeup to achieve that look. And so after you've cleansed, toned, and moisturized, you want to get a primer that is a good primer. So I have the Laura Mercier primer is a really good one. It illuminates the face. You can have ones that correct oily skin, so a matte primer, or you can have ones that have, you know, those different colors to correct sallowness. So you can have a purple primer. But one of the things that we're going to have on Celine today is these Meteorite reflective powder. Well, they're powder balls, but they're
Let's have a look at
basically,
that. Can we
yeah,
get
they're a
close up?
concoction of different blends and colors. And I'm not sure if you can see, but there's purple, there's green, there's yellow. And if you had seen the color correcting segment where we went over what each color of the blend here does, it kind of just blurs and makes, you know, the skin reflect differently. So if there's red, you know, that green will get in there, and it kind of just blends and beautifies.
So you can
The
use
skin.
the colours all at the same time.
Yeah, and this one is by Guerlain, which is one of my favorite. They're really good on bronzers as well. But actually, they were a company that were just for the royals.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess
Your royalty today.
I guess what they decided was that they wanted the common people to have the same products that were being made for them.
Okay.
So then this is where this line actually came from, and I learned that
Okay.
when I was in Paris.
Oh, nice.
So the next thing you want to do, again, to brighten the eye is apply a light shimmery shadow. So we're just going to apply a light shimmery shadow. This is a beautiful blend by Quad Ilamasca has, and it's cream based, so you don't have to worry about that under that fall of those you know, little powder specks that don't look so natural. So it's good to have a nice, you know, light shimmery. It does, you know, you can go for matte, but shimmery still looks natural. Another thing that we have is a liquid, ooh, there we go, just throwing things around here. We have a liquid black eyeliner. And I have to say that this adds definition. I went through photos before with a thin black eyeliner and without. And you'll see that the eye looks defined, and it doesn't look unnatural. It actually looks quite beautiful and natural, giving you that definition, but still that natural look. And some people stem away from the liner, thinking that it looks too bold or unnatural. And so it's just a thin line we have, and some people use a pencil thinking that that looks more natural, but actually this is so precise and clean that it does. Okay, the last thing we'll do is a bronzer. So we'll have lots of color that will come to the end, and if you're doing natural, you can choose a blusher. So you can choose a blusher or a bronzer, but you don't want to do both.
Because that will start to look
To look makeup-y. So if you want, just add a bit of bronzer.
I'm choosing all the right words today, aren't I?
You can see how this just changes her, just makes it.
It just looks like she's glowing, doesn't she? Like she's not really, like, no heavy makeup, just nice, natural.
It's just, it brings a bit of a glow to her skin, which we already have with those meteorite balls as well. But other things are obviously mascara, keeping your eyelashes primped, and just blending really. But you'll see
and natural lip as well, like
natural
gloss.
lip. We chose a Hush, Viva Glam by MAC and Hush by Daniel Sandler, and this is actually the same tone of her lip, but there's just a little bit of sparkle. So again, she's got that natural defined look of no makeup.
And gorgeous.
And gorgeous makeup.
All right. So ladies, let's walk over now to join Cynthia, because she's going to be talking about our outfits. Hello, my love.
Hi.
Thanks so much for that, Maegan. It was really interesting.
That's really interesting this week.
Okay. Cool. So tell us.
Okay, well, we're right in the Christmas season. We're ready to pick out that Christmas dress. So that's what today's segment's about, holiday dressing part 2. Okay, so I think I'll start with you, Chrissy. And so basically all my looks are things that you could wear to a Christmas party or that staff outing. Chrissy, I'll start with you. I've put you in this very comfortable silk and feminine DVF dress. And if we could just take a look at this. So it's in very flowy sleeves that are sheer. So you were commenting that you really liked it. Yeah, it's in a nice magenta.
When I saw it on the hanger, I was like, but when I put it on, it really fits nice.
That.
I like it. Yeah.
What do you like most about it?
I love the feel of it.
Yeah,
it's very comfortable to wear, and also the sleeves. It just gives it a nice touch.
Isn't it gorgeous? Because it's got it moves. That's what silk will do in a dress. So a very comfortable choice, and it still looks very party-ish. All right, so I'll just move to my next model, who is Celine. And Celine is wearing a jumpsuit piece in plain black. It's done by Italian designer MSGM, actually. And I've paired it with some shiny Lucy Choi heels just to give it a pop of color and to, bring out the black. But this jumpsuit really plays around with like feminine and masculine silhouettes, because you can see here we've got the draping on the top, and then we have the masculine, of course, the trouser bottom. So an elegant and very chic choice is a jumpsuit, and Celine pulls this off fabulously. For myself and baby sister, come over here, we've chosen these sheath dresses by Nicole Miller. Now these dresses look good on all body types. I've just paired both of ours with black stilettos, and they're Nicole Miller's famous sheath cut that she does every season, but you can see this gorgeous shiny fabric in these holiday colors. How do you feel in this, Maegan?
I feel like I'm ready to go to a party.
That's great. And I put yours with this lovely, there I go, saying necklace by, it's a statement necklace there. All right, so thank you very much, Maegan.
Thank you.
Just go through a few things on my rail today, some other ideas for festive dress. So let's start with the ladies. We'll keep going with the ladies. For those of you who caught my segment last week, we have this lovely Diane von Furstenberg lace dress with the sheer paneling in the arms again, and just in this nice color of purple.
It's lovely.
It's a nice pop of color.
You have look blue to me though. I don't know why.
Actually, I think it is. I think I have some color issues.
Or is it just me? Like, okay, all right. I do get things wrong with colours.
It's blue. I think you're right. Chrissy's right. All right.
It's a purpley blue. We'll compromise. All right.
You can't have, a wrap without a blue,
that one's red.
A red dress on the rail. And this one here, again by Diane von Furstenberg, you've got this
gorgeous,
nice draping detail on the side there. This one's a bit bodycon. So you'll want to be comfortable with that type of silhouette, but it's just a sharp dress, and you pair this with black heels for the office. Amazing. The next one here I have is one for maybe the person who still wants to wear black but has a little bit of festive sparkle in it. So this one is done by Vivienne Westwood, and if we could just get a close-up on this shiny, stretchy fabric, it's got just that little bit of sparkle on it. Can you imagine what that would look like on? You could do any kind of color of heel with that and go crazy with the makeup. Got a couple fancy pieces here. So for the ones that want to go a little more all out, we've got this Egyptian look dress by Nicole Miller, this awesome Art Deco sort of embellishment on there. And this one's just a fabulous piece as well. This one here, we have an ostrich feather cocktail dress, and it's just really nice with the movement there with the feathers. And this one would be a very fun party dress.
Was I just told we have 1 minute left?
Is that what we have? I think
my
I saw that as well.
gosh.
I'm going to have to do a bit of
things. Come on. Do you want me to hold some up for you?
I'm going to have to do a bit of menswear here. Let's
right,
do the
let's just hold
Christmas
these.
sweater.
That went so fast, guys.
It did.
All right.
This one here, very Tom Ford. We've got this awesome blazer by Selected Homme.
nice.
Isn't it nice? It's got this subtle polka dot print on it. Velvet, wear it with a crisp white shirt. Tom Ford for sure. Chrissy's got in her right hand here, she has this paisley shirt. A paisley is just a very subtle print for the man who doesn't like to go all out. And in your left hand there, Chrissy, the infamous Barber Christmas sweater for that man who, you know, you're going to see him across the room there with that
Really
Christmas
nice.
sweater. So, I mean, we're going to have to pick up next week.
Yeah,
part
but we've
3.
certainly got some more stuff to talk about for next week's festive stuff. Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you. And thanks to our lovely model, Celine. And thank you very much, Maegan, as well. Okay, so we have reached the end of the... Where's my camera? Is it this one? No? Or is it this one? Okay, let me point in that direction, hopefully. Yeah, here we go. So we have reached the end of the show, but if you want information about anything you've seen today and also information about our guests, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And if you want to email me, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. From all of us, bye-bye.